In your manual, you will have this picture, and it's of Slowmo Man. And I tell the kids, boys and girls, here's Slowmo Man. He says everything in slow motion. Watch. Here's the word man. What's this, everybody? Man. Now watch what Slowmo Man does. He puts his hands up like this and he goes, man. Have all the kids say the word man. Man. Say it again. Now use Slowmo Man. Get your arms ready. Go. Man. Here's what's going to happen. And I was shocked when this happened to me. I then jumped to, let's say, bat. Boys and girls, what is this? A bat. Let's get Slowmo Man ready. And you know what many of the kids did? Man. It was a big jump to go from saying a word to saying it slowly. So I had to stay in this group for many children and practice this over and over until they could just say a word and then say it with Slowmo Man. So you do not want to move on in this group until your students can identify the word man and then say man, then jump to a new card, bat, bat. They need to be able to do that on their own before you go to segmenting words. If they can't even say a word and then say it slowly, segmenting is going to definitely be out of their range of ability. So this whole process is just being able to identify through a picture what a word is and then say it slowly. And again, don't worry if you find your kids say man, then they see a new picture, bat, and then they say man slowly. It's because they don't have that skill yet. So you're going to practice it over and over again. How do you do that? You say, boys and girls, what's the picture? And they say man, because they know now what the picture is. Watch me, man. Now you do it. Then they do it. Here's our new picture. What is it, everybody? A bat. Watch me, bat. Now they do it. Bat. You need to model how to say that word slowly. Then they practice it. After you've done that many times with just 2 pictures, then you go back and say the word man. Say it with Slowmo Man. Man. Say the word bat. Slowmo Man it. Bat. Once they can do 2, introduce a 3rd one. Once they can do 3, introduce a 4th one. Once they have about 6 to 8 of these different pictures that they can say, then they're ready to go to the next column. Again, your focus here is for students to be able to say a word that matches the picture and then Slowmo Man on their own independently. Let's move now, once they have those skills, to segmenting the words. When we segment, what we're doing is, first we're just teaching the students how to go from saying the word slowly with Slowmo Man to actually isolating each phoneme or each individual sound in that word. So in this word, on our example here, it was man. How I would do this activity now is I would show the students the picture of the man. Boys and girls, say the picture. Man. After I show them the picture, then I'm going to say, Slowmo Man it. Man. Picture, man. Slowmo Man. Man. I'm going to show them how I segment it. Again, I'm going to isolate each individual sound. The problem is that you're still going to have a lot of children who, when you go, they are not going to hear the word man. So we want to add our cues, our physical cues from our alphabet. So we show the picture, Slowmo Man it, and now we're going to show them the cues. And the cues isolate each sound and have a physical motion for each sound so they can actually feel and see that sound as they produce it. I'll say the word man, Slowmo Man it, man. Now watch me. And then I have my different letters of my alphabet that I will put on a document viewer or I will put up on the board in front of them for them to see. I'll first put up the M and I'll go, you do that, ready, go, Then I put up the A, ah, and then they do the motion with the sound. And then I put up the N and I go, Now I'm going to point to each one of our letter boxes and you say it as I point. Ready? Go. Man. Let's go back to the beginning. Say the picture. Man. Slow-mo man it. Man. Say each sound. After they see the sound boxes, to cue them for each sound with a physical motion, with a visual, then I'm going to go back and have them do this again, and every time they say a sound, I'm going to show one of my finger hats. My finger hats are just little pieces of paper that I made that fit around the finger, and the letter will be on the hat. So I'm going to put my fingers down. I'm going to say, boys and girls, say the picture, man. Slow-mo man it, man. Make the sound cards. Go. Man. Now say the sound cards again. And then I'm going to put up my fingers with the letter on it so they can see the letters matching as they say the sound cards. Repeat this activity over and over again for each one of the words that you have done in the Say It Slowly column. So we did man, now we're going to do bat. So what do? We always say, read the picture, slow-mo man it. So number 1, read the picture. Number 2, slow-mo man it. Then we're going to have the sound boxes from the alphabet. Step 4 are the hats, the finger hats, with the letters written on it. And that's what you're doing. That's it. Over and over again until they can segment the sounds for all the picture boxes that you did previously in just saying the word slowly. We repeat this over and over again, these same 4 steps, so that they can start to learn how to segment words. Once they can say the picture, slow-mo man it, and then segment the sounds, then we move to our last activity where we actually have them write the word down. This is when I switch to just one finger hat with no letters on it. Let's go now and add the last part of this activity. Let's say the word was man. So what would they do? They would say the picture card first. Man. Slow-mo man it. Man. Sound cards. Now we're going to write it down. Say it again slowly. We're going to write down this one first. When we say it, we stop when we hear that sound for this one. Ready? Go. Stop. Write it down. You're going to have students who have no idea what the letter M is. So if you have students in your group who don't know the letter, you would say, boys and girls, is that like milk or is that like snake? What's the same as milk? That's the letter M, and we always write down the green one. Which one? The green one. So let me stop for a minute so I can show you what I just did. I have students segmenting sounds and words. Now I need to bridge it to letters. If they don't know their letters, then I give them 2 choices. I always give the correct choice first, because if students don't know what you're talking about, they'll always say the last thing you say. And then I give 2 letter sounds that are very different from each other. So we went Then we went back When we hear this one, stop and write down the letter that matches that sound. So what did I do? We went And I know a lot of students in my group may not know their letters, so then I point to my chart. Is that like milk or is that like snake? Which one matches milk? And which one do we write down? The red or the green? Always the green letter. Write it down. They're at their whiteboard, and what do? They're going to write down an M. So you see here, they wrote down an M. I take my finger hat and I tell them, we wrote this one. Now we're going to write the sound that goes here. When we hear this sound, we stop and we write it down. What's the word? Man. Slow-mo man it. Man. Now make your sound motions and I'll touch my fingers. Go. Ah. Stop. Ah. We haven't written this one down. What makes the ah sound? Is it apple or is it snake? Which one matches ah? Apple. That's the letter A. Say A. A. Which one do we write down? Red or green? The green. Write it down on your page. So notice on their whiteboard, they wrote down the A. As they write it, I'm going to ask them quickly, boys and girls, before you write down the A, do you write it far away or snuggled up? Snuggled up. So everything I'm doing in this lesson, I make sure I'm giving them the metacognitive instructions. What are you supposed to be thinking in your brain when you write? They're supposed to be thinking, I have to snuggle up that letter. I say that. Far away or snuggled? Snuggled. Red or green? Green. Write it down, and they write down the A. Now we need to write the last sound we hear. Let me move my finger hat to the last sound. We've done these first two. Let's listen and stop when we hear this sound. Go back and say the word again. Man. Slow-mo. Man. Sound motions. Ah. What is the same as Is it nurse or is it octopus? Which one matches nurse? Which one are you going to write down? Red or green? The green one. Far away or snuggled? Snuggled. Now they write it on their whiteboard. So now we have the word man. So put your finger underneath the word and say it. Man. And now we're going to keep repeating this activity with all these different words. So when the group comes to my table, what are we doing? I show them a card. They say it. They slow-mo man it. Then we segment by acting out the sounds. And then finally, I move my finger hat to identify which sound we're writing down, and then we write it. Eventually, my finger hat fades, and all the kids are going to do is I will show them a picture, cat. They will go, cat, k-at, k, and then they would write it down. The letter k-a, and they would write down the A, k-at. I want students to be able to independently say the words, use slow-mo man, segment the sounds by touching their finger for each sound, and then write it down on their whiteboards. I can assist them by giving them choices of letters if they're still learning their letters, but I want them to have that segmenting down. They will learn their letters quickly if they use them in a meaningful activity, not just learning them in isolation. So this is our pre-emergent types of groups. Your polling groups, they're all going to be doing these same activities together. On page 74, we saw how we would be working with high frequency words and how we go from learning a word to mastering a word. On page 75, our next skill for word writing is segmenting words. That's where we first are going to say a word, slow-mo man it, use our sound motions so that we can identify each phoneme in a word, and then say the word again slowly by tapping our finger and writing down that letter that matches that sound in serial order on the whiteboards. Once students are mastering these skills where they can write many high frequency words, about 8 to 10, segment many CVC words, then I move them on to the Emergent Level group. That's where they'll learn how to independently write a sentence. Let's go to Emergent Writing.